You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 15th meeting for the LaPorte County Election Board Q&A session. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
If I can have everyone's attention. Thank you everyone for coming. This is the election board's election season question and answer session. We're going to get started. Please feel free to come up and sign in on the sign-in sheet, get yourself a refreshment, donuts, coffee, whatever you would like. We thank the party chairs for bringing refreshments and treats today. I'd like to introduce who's sitting in front of you before we begin today's question and answer session. Our election administrator is Taylor Van Sickle, and I think all of us can attest that we could not get through election season or most days without Taylor, so thank you very much. Our county clerk, Heather Stevens. And newly inducted, appointed, we're going to go with all of it. Democratic election board member is Julie Sinclair. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I'm Katie Bowen, president of the election board. Before we begin, we'd like everyone to stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So thank you everyone for coming today. There is a mic here. If you have a question, want to make a comment, if you could please raise your hand, we'll bring it around to you. We are recording today's event. It is not live streamed, but it will be available by Friday. So I just want to make sure that all of your questions can be heard by anyone that is watching after today. Your question might be the same question that they have, or the answer might be one that they're looking for. This is going to be relatively informal. We are hoping to answer questions about the forms, about candidacy, campaign finance, when the deadlines are, what we do with the forms once you turn them in, and what the process looks like. We can start with candidacy if you'd like. What form they fill out to even, what do you do? I want to run for office. What form do I fill out? We can start there. So many of you who have already filled out your paperwork or submitted your forms have probably talked to Taylor. You have submitted a Can-To form, which is your form where you declare that you want to run for office and who you are. One thing that we want to be sure people are aware of is on the back of the Can-To form. So this is the form. On the back, I'm sorry, nope, it's on the front. At the very bottom, it has a very small printed section that has you write in how you want your name to appear on the ballot. Whatever you write is how your name is going to appear on the ballot. If you put an initial and your last name, that's what's going to appear on the ballot, even if that's not what you want. Taylor has been reminding everyone when they turn in the form to check that, to be sure that it is exactly as you want it to read on the ballot. That's really important. However you're introducing yourself to people throughout the season is probably how you want your name to look on the ballot so they can match it. If you are mailing in paperwork and this is not completed, we've got a little bit of an issue because we don't know how you want your name to appear. So please, please, please pay attention to the bottom boxes here on the Can-To if you have not already submitted it, but you're interested in doing so. Anything else on that one?
Probably just making sure, initialing, reading through. We've had people ask about how it affects voter registration. I usually send eventually voter registration when everyone's done filing a copy of everyone's candidacy form. And they have to update your voter registration to match what you put for your candidate name information. So just so everyone's aware, that's how your new voter registration name will be under. The other thing that I want to make sure people are doing is there's been some confusion on like what district you're in. Is that right? Like some people have been filing and they're putting themselves in the wrong district. When you turn it into me, I thinking that you know what district you're in. So I take your form. However, I've had to call a few people back and have them come in and modify their form because they've put themselves in the wrong place. So just
That is not, oh, sorry.
That's really up to the two party chairs to challenge that. I don't, as much as I wanna give a heads up, I don't know that we can.
well, and it's been because they've been calling me saying,
Okay.
hey, I think I did this wrong.
Well, that's a little different than we'll try to help anybody.
So I usually will have you, something that I suggest is, we don't have a notary in our office. This is the other thing to give everyone a heads up. You can go to voter registration, there's no fee for it, and they can notarize your paperwork. Kristen will notarize it in there, and they can also check the information at the top for you. So that's what I suggest. I can give you the paperwork in person, or I can email it to you if it's easier, so you don't have to come through security, get the paperwork, and then cross the street to go back. I know it's a little bit of a hassle, but I can even email you the paperwork. You can go to Kristen, she can notarize it, and they can check that information at the top for you to make sure that it's accurate before you turn it in.
So for example, at the top of this form, many of you don't have it in front of you, it asks you to declare what precinct you are a registered voter in. So we don't want you to put precinct 1 when you really live in precinct 16. It's helpful that you have accurate information on the forms that you're filing because you're signing, attesting to the accuracy of your form, okay? We try to answer as many questions as come our way, but as Heather brought up, once you submit the paperwork, the election board does not correct your paperwork. We cannot change the information on your paperwork. That is subject to challenge by the party chairs, okay? Does anyone have questions? Go ahead, Julie.
Can I add something to that? If you're filing for a state delegate as a Democrat, you need to file in the county council district in which you live. There are no at-large seats. And I see from Friday's filings, or one day this week's filings, that somebody filed at large. So I will be reaching out. You just file in your county council district. And if you don't know who that is, ask for a registration. Or Indiana State, you can go to the Indiana State website and put in your information. It'll tell you what district it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, the same goes for, so both party chairs kind of did things a little bit differently this year. And the delegates are by council district, which is really, yeah, both of you. Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah, but the Republican side does have 10 at large, but nobody's, I mean, we've got people filing to run for delegate that do it every other year, and they're just so used to putting their congressional district, so it's definitely been a challenge, so.
We'll help you out. We'll look through it and see if we get a hold of people who filed at large or in the wrong one.
Alright.
Does anyone in the audience have questions about the paperwork you need to prepare or submit? Yes, Dakota, hold on. Let me run you back.
Which offices require you to file at the county election board versus the state election board?
Oh,
So if you are running for judge or prosecutor, you file in Indianapolis. If you're running for everything else, you file here, though you still have to potentially open your party paperwork if it's not already open for judge and prosecutor as well.
And then what differs for like an independent or nonpartisan candidate? Do they still file at this time or?
no. That'll be later on. And in your packets, did everybody get one? Because in those packets, I did put in a 2026 Indiana election calendar, so all of that information will be in there. I didn't fold them because I was rushing around. But no, that's later on.
I have an addition. If you're a state representative, you also file in Indianapolis, right?
Correct. Right. State
Yes.
Senate.
State Senate, state representative.
Yeah.
That's Indianapolis too.
Yeah. However, if you do file down in Indy, it's called a courtesy filing, and some of the candidates have even just emailed those to me, and then I just forward that to Taylor. So that way you make the list locally too, and it's just kind of nice to let everybody at home know what's going on.
So in Dewey Township, two of my Republican Township board members, one of them ran 4 years ago as Uncle Nippy, and the other one ran as the mailman. So now that this paperwork is changed, and if they choose to run as Uncle Nippy and the mailman again, so this means that somewhat their ID is going to be changed to Uncle Nippy and the mailman at voters registration.
Well, that would be correct. I would have to pull the statute to see whether or not they can run as Uncle Nippy or the mailman. But I would definitely pull that code, so.
Interesting.
That's the question. Yeah. It's up.
Hypothetically, if somebody is running and they put their resident address in Michigan City and they were half asleep when they filled this out and they put their P.O. box, which is actually in LaPorte, but they put Michigan City on the form, do we have to redo this whole thing again? Or can we just make a correction to the proper city?
I would think you would need to amend the filing.
On the can too?
Yeah.
Alright.
So just a new form, and it's gonna ask, well, does this one ask?
I don't think it does.
No,
It doesn't.
it doesn't
You
ask
can- you
for
can amend the
an
filing
amendment.
now.
You want me to get?
I got
You're in like heels.
I'm in 10.
I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, you're in Ghosts.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Raise your hand. Okay. Wanna do this one next?
Yes, because it has to come with this.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. I'll do this one.
Okay, so when you file a Can 2, which is when your declaration of candidacy for something besides precinct committeeman or state convention delegate, you have to file what's called a Can 12. And this is a statement of economic interest for local and school board offices. This, when you're filing it at the top, it asks for the year. You're doing it for the previous year. So when you're turning it in this year, you're doing it for 2025. Something that's important is it's going to ask, the name of my spouse was. And people are like, well, my spouse is still this person. You're still going to put that name because in 2025, who were you married to? If something doesn't apply, which a lot of these questions don't apply to everyone, you need to put like NA or something on the form. Don't just leave it blank because that just looks like you didn't answer it. So it just doesn't apply. This has to be turned in with the Can 12 or the Can 2, but also it does need notarized. So again, this is something that you would just get both forms together. You go see Kristen at voter registration. Kristen or Angie can check the information for you. They can notarize both documents and you'll turn them into me at the same time. The Can 2 is not complete without this document.
The other thing I want to stress is the phone numbers and email addresses. Please supply those because poor Taylor spends so much time trying to get a hold of people, and it's so much easier if we have your email address.
Yes. True. And sometimes I may text you if I need to.
Well, and sometimes we'll hunt you down.
Yes.
That happens too.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. We'll find a way to get you.
37. Sir, Can 37.
I don't have a 37.
I do. It's not in the packet though.
There you go.
Okay, so the form that is the declaration of candidacy for precinct committeeman or state convention delegate, or I'm not sure if they're in the packet, but it's the Can 37. So it's not the can 2, it's the can 37. And this is the one that I've seen the most errors on probably, is it's asking what district you want to be the state convention delegate for, or if you want to be at large, what precinct you want to run for precinct committeeman, what congressional district you live in. So it asks those questions, and again, this form needs notarized. If you go see Kristen or Angie, Kristen can notarize it for you, no charge, and then they'll check your information and turn it in. This also does have at the bottom, this one's a little easier to read than the can 2, about how you want your name on the ballot.
Anything? No questions? Okay. CFA 1, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so after you declare your candidacy with the can 2, you have 10 days to fill out the CFA 1. So this gets filed with Taylor, and if you hold office already and you make more than $5,000 a year, we have to have one of these on file for you, and you have to file that annual report. So this is where you're gonna put all of your banking information, you're basically gonna set up your committee. And if you need help, we're always happy to help out. But then this helps Taylor because she keeps so many spreadsheets, so many. But then she will remind you when those campaign finance reports are due. First thing she's gonna do is send a letter. Sometimes she'll send a second letter, sometimes she'll start blowing up your email. And if you still haven't done it, she's gonna start calling, texting, stalking. She'll be outside your door.
Facebook message
It's
you.
a little scary. I would not, don't be late for those reports. Because then we call you in here, we have to fine you, and that's not fun. That's not fun for anybody. I know all of you in this room. I don't want to hand out fines.
No.
And we all worked together last fall, and we called and got everybody in.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're trying now.
When the state changed the rules on me,
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun.
So we're trying to make it so that we all work together. They reach out to the party chairs reach out to their people. We're trying to make it so that nobody can make a mistake and everybody gets everything done on time.
Right.
So a couple things about the CFA 1 that I want to bring up, because I've had some people ask about it. If you opened a committee in 2025, you don't have to file a new CFA 1 when you signed up to run for something. If your committee's still open, you still keep that committee open. Now, you may have to file a CFA 1 if you put Taylor for county council and now you want to run for commissioner, right? And you want that in your title, you would just amend your CFA 1. If you're changing your address, your email address, your treasurer, anything like that, you'll just check amendment, that yes, it's an amendment, and then you will fill out all the same information, just correcting whatever needs corrected. But otherwise, you're just turning your annual report into me at this point in time. I'll send you reminders when other reports are due, but if you already have a committee open, you don't have to open another committee because you're filing for something this year. If your committee's already open, it just stays open until you disband it. So that's something that I want to point out, because I've had some people try to turn these in and you don't have to, okay? Now, if you're changing the name of your committee, you're going to fill a new one of these and amend it. If you're changing anything about your committee, you'll amend it. Otherwise, your committee stays open and you just need to fill out the next report that we'll go over. And I do check these over when you turn them in to make sure you have everything. I don't check the math, but I just check to make sure you have everything filled out correctly.
When you pick up paperwork from the clerk's office, there have been candidate packets being handed out. If you have not gotten one and you want one, please let us know or visit the clerk's office here in the LaPorte location only, not in the Michigan City location. Inside, there is a print-off of this PowerPoint presentation that is provided by the Indiana Election Division. It explains the CFA 1, who needs to file it, when you need to file it, and why. We don't tell you if your office makes more than $5,000. You have to do your due diligence. You have to know if you're in an office that makes more than $5,000. Otherwise, if you don't file the CFA 1, Then the party chairs try hunting you down, and then you get notice from the election board, and then you find yourself in one of these hearing rooms that we so much don't enjoy. So please, please, please know what office you hold. Know what the benefits are, what the duties are, how much money you earn. That's really helpful to know. Okay? We can't, if you call and say, Katie, does my office make $6,000? I am not calling every county department or agency to find out how much money you make. We will when we have to. We do keep a spreadsheet every year, but we have to do that once all the annual salaries are updated because last year's might not be the same as this year's. So we go through this whole process regularly, but it is up to you to know if you have to file. Okay? And this PowerPoint is on their website, on Secretary of State, Election Division website. If you want to see it in color, it's printed out here for you in these fantastic candidate packets, courtesy of our favorite Taylor.
Actually, in those packets that Taylor put together, it has the website, it has all of this. If you guys have any questions at all, I would, and I did when I decided to run, I spent the better part of a weekend going through that website. You just go to the Secretary of State's website, you're gonna hit the elections page, check the election administrator's portal. Because that is amazing. You're gonna find a ton of information, you're gonna learn a lot. I love it. I had a good time, you might not, but I did. So, but yeah, that's in the packet. It also has, it has a lot of contact information for all of us. So feel free to use it. Call us, email us, I don't care. I get text messages, I get Facebook messages, I don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dakota.
I said thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So just to reiterate, the final, I guess the what makes you have to form the committee is if your compensation is over 5,000. It has nothing to do with money coming in, expenses, or it does affect that as well. Separate than just compensation.
Yes,
Do you happen to know those numbers by chance?
yes, I think I do. Is it 500? Once you've spent or received $500, you have to form a committee. And everything is $500. So if you're buying signs, you might as well just fill out the paperwork. If you're buying t-shirts.
Even if you don't receive the money from a third party, but you are loaning it to yourself to run for office, you have spent $500 on yourself. You have to then open a committee. Your money for your campaign or for your election is still a requirement. Okay? That is often not looked at. People think it has to be $500 from an outside source. That's not the case. It can also be an in-kind donation or something that is given to you that has a value of $500. Okay? Any other questions? Okay.
I'm really gonna stress the website because it has the campaign finance manual, it has a candidate guide, and it's gonna answer so many questions. Probably not every question, but reach out. Again, reach out to us, reach out to your party chairs. Everybody's here to help. I wanna pet the dog.
You wanna You shall not pass.
Okay, the next one, which brings on a lot of questions, is the CFA 4. This has numerous additional pages that go with the CFA 4. An A1, an A2, an A3, 4, and then A5 and then schedules. This document is where you report your receipts and expenditures. The money that comes in, who it comes in from, what entity, what person, their address, how much, and what you spend the money on from your committee. The reports are due 3 times in a year. Not in one calendar, but 3 times in a 1-year period. A pre-primary, which is going to be due this year, April 17th by noon. Not 12:01 or 12 and 6 seconds, by noon. And that's really important because people like to come in that day and tell us a million stories about why it wasn't in at noon. And unfortunately, the code, the statute, the rule is noon.
The beauty of this, you can email it to us.
Oh, that's
True.
You email it to us. Taylor she happily stamps it, scans it, and sends you back a stamped copy. That's fantastic.
And the nice thing is, if you do the CFA 4 and say you have it open because your office makes $6,000 a year, but you don't collect any money, you don't spend any money, I don't need the 10 pages behind the front page. Just send me the first one. Because if you send me the 10 behind, I have to stamp them and scan them. You can just send me the front one. That's all I need. So if you have a page that's blank, you don't have to turn it in to me. Okay? The other thing that I have to stress that I learned at the conference this year when we went is, so for example, the campaign finance report for pre-primary is due by noon on April 17th. But the reporting period ends April 10th. So this is anything from January 1 to April 10th is what's going to be on this report. So not April 11th, don't put anything for that on there. But you cannot turn in, which I didn't know this till the conference, you cannot turn in a campaign finance report. For example, I had a lot of this. The annual report, it's from 1/1 of 25 to 12/31 of 25. I had people turning it in on 12/9, 12/5. The reporting period hasn't ended. You can't turn in a campaign finance report if the period's not over yet. So that's something that we have to be mindful of too. The reporting period ends typically a week before the due date, and then that's what the reporting period is, and you're going to turn it in a week later. So that little week hiatus is going to go on your general election report. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're turning these documents in.
The next deadline is not until the fall. That's the pre-election deadline. The pre-election forms will be due on October 16th. And to Taylor's point, the reporting period will end 1 week earlier, which is October 9th. Because you need to report the entire calendar year, that annual report for 2026 will not be due until January of next year in 2027. If you have a committee open now and you have to file an annual report for 2025, your deadline to file is January 21st at noon. Again, if you have a committee that's currently open from 2025, you have to file your annual report by January 21st at noon. Even if you're running again this year.
Even if your balance is 0, right?
Yep.
Even if your balance is 0.
Yep.
We still need the annual report. When you don't get the annual report turned in, then Taylor sends out notices reminding you to please turn it in even if it's late. The party chairs will start hounding you. Then you'll get an official notice from the election board begging you to please, please, please turn it in even if it's late so that we don't have to go drag you into a hearing. We really, really, really need you to just turn in the form. Okay? If it has errors on it, you'll get another notice letting you know that the election board has audited the reports and we found an error. You put 0, but last year on your pre-election report, you had $6,752. Somewhere between $6,752 and today, we need to know what happened, okay? We send those notices out and ask you to please amend. The code allows for a time frame to amend by. It's not a lot of days.
I think it's 5.
It's 5. It's not a lot of days. But we don't go to your bank and ask for those records because we are not the committee and we are not running for office. You have asked and declared and opened a committee. You have to follow the rules. I can't stress it enough to fill out the report. Check what you put on it last year. Make sure that they match. Just turning it in with 0 is not the right answer when it's not 0. Okay? Same goes for the pre-primary and the pre-election. We then audit the reports. We will give notice if there's errors. There are often errors. These pages in the back have you tallying totals. The majority of the errors are math errors. They don't add all the numbers accurately, or when they add, they then don't carry the number correctly to the summary. You know, $112 became $121 somewhere along the way. Check, double check what you're carrying over and what the math looks like. If you're depositing your money into your bank account, the numbers on this should match your bank statements, your deposits, your withdrawals, okay? We don't need all of that paperwork. You're just processing it here on the CFA4 and all of the exhibits. We then will again send a notice if we believe that there are deficiencies or defects in the report and ask that you please correct it in the time frame allowed in the code, which is that 5 days. The majority just amend the form and bring it back in, or we offer for you to talk to us, to call us. We'll tell you what we found to be defective or deficient, and then you have to go figure out where the record is that is defective or deficient and correct and amend the report.
It sounds worse than it is.
Can I jump in? Some states pay for software that allow you to go in and do this online and make it easy for you. Indiana doesn't do that. I do have somebody in my party that has given me a spreadsheet that will do this for you. So I don't care what party you belong to. If you want help making sure your CFA4 has the right numbers and the right math, give my business card and I will give it to you. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. I want you to do it right. Right.
Yeah, and really the majority of the errors are just handwriting errors.
Or typos.
Or typos. So if you have an Excel spreadsheet that helps you with the numbers, you're not gonna have that same issue. Are there questions about this form? I know this one is the one that causes a lot of heartache and a lot of nerves. How do we do it? How do we fill it out? What should we do? Should we talk about it more? Are there questions? Alan?
I just, whatever you could talk about the penalties and fines for not turning in paperwork on time, where they start and where they can escalate to.
So if you don't turn in your campaign finance report on time, the penalty for that is $50 a day, which starts at noon, the day that it's due, up to $1,000. So it takes a majority of the board in order to assess a penalty, and it takes a unanimous vote by the board to reduce it. And if you've watched the meetings, you've seen where in the past we have voted to reduce penalties. I think we've been doing this long enough now. I'm moving forward. So, but again, if you are truly struggling through this, reach out. I have had Democrats sitting in my office. I've had Republicans sitting in my office. I've had people, I don't know what party they belong to. I will help. I cannot do it for you, but I can answer questions.
I have no.
That's what we're here for.
You have a mic right in front of you, actually.
Oh, okay.
That one's on too.
Thank you. Okay, so, new to the game. I have a lot of individual receipts from my candidates' expenditures for different functions, whether it was the parade, a fundraising event, different activities. So am I required, these are like Dollar General, Menards, I am required to list each receipt, or can I bulk them for a function?
Well, for instance, say we went to 4 different stores to get candy for the parade. Do those all have to be listed individually, or can we just say $78 out of 4 receipts total together, one expenditure?
The best practice is to list them all individually.
Well, I'm gonna have about 10 pages.
Yes.
But that's okay. I mean, I want to do it right. And then, is it fair to say that this report that we turn in just keeps rolling? So as we get more contributions, like say for example, if we get, from a same organization, I just keep this form and I keep adding on for the next,
Yes,
okay, for the year.
yes.
Okay.
So remember that you're only reporting for that period.
Okay.
So you'll report, for example, from January 1st through April 10th. Thank you, Guy. April 10th.
Okay.
And that's all of the expenditures that you had during that period. So then your next filing is going to be the next block of time.
Okay.
April 11th through October
16.
16th. No,
17th.
9th.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Nine.
yeah.
And that will be your next block of expenditures
Okay.
that match your spending. Same with contributions. There is a caveat. If someone were to donate $50, there is not a requirement to report if it's under 100, not at 100, but under 100. But that is in an entire year. So if that same person then gives you another $50, now you have to report their name, address, occupation, and the total amount for the year.
And then that's also gonna mess with my totals if I don't put it in here, because I've added it all in.
Itemized.
Which is why you need a spreadsheet.
Yeah, I have one. I do have one, but I was just gonna ask about what an itemized is, and that's those lower increments that fall under the 50.
You can also report all of them.
I that's what I've done, really.
Yes,
Okay.
you can report all of them.
Okay. And then I see where we have to go in and enter the type of, I saw the different letters that indicate like C for contributions, F for fundraising, A, so make sure those are all included on there as well.
Correct.
Okay. The code.
I'm gonna send you a copy of it.
And then just remember, so like for last year, it's from whenever you opened your committee last year to 12/31/25.
That's what
So don't think that you have to keep last year's rolling with up to the pre-election report. So,
okay.
I mean, you'll keep your totals, like you'll carry it over to your new report, whatever your total you started with
Yeah.
is. But any of the expenses on candy from last year aren't going to be
Itemized.
on your new CFA4 when you turn in the pre-election report.
Okay.
If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, I'll
You
have
can always call if you have questions. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So the other thing I wanna go over very quickly, if you have an open committee and you're like, you know what, I'm never running again, I'm done, I'm just done with this,
And you're not in office.
and you're not in office, when you turn in your report, or if, let's start with January 21st. When you turn in your CFA4, if you're done, there is a box on here that you're gonna check that says disband. That is how you disband your committee. Withdrawing your candidacy doesn't do it. Losing a primary doesn't do it. Not running again doesn't do it. You must check disband.
It's in number 11 on the first page in the middle. It's not in the first row of boxes, it's right underneath pre-primary. It says final/disbands. That's the box you're going to check when you are closing your committee.
And why did you turn around the next year and decide, oh, I wasn't thinking you really had one of them?
Can you reopen it?
File a new one.
File a new one. Now, there are requirements as to what can happen with the money when you are disbanding or closing out your committee. So please be sure you're paying attention to where the money can go. Whether it has to be given back in pro rata share to the donors that have donated to your campaign, to a party, to another committee. So for example, Taylor for Council is now a committee of Taylor for Commissioner, and she does a final for Taylor for Council showing that the $3,000 that was in her account is going to a new committee, Taylor for Commissioner. So she's just moving the money to an open committee, a new committee, but an open committee, and closing the old one. That is allowed as well.
And it'll just be reflected on that CFA 4 as an expenditure. This is what I'm doing with it, and it's going to show as a contribution on my new report. And there's a IC code or code, I don't know, that lists things you can do and the
Yes.
rules and stuff like that. I have it tabbed in my office, and I can always email that to you too if you have questions about how you can distribute your money.
I have a question as the newest member of this board tonight. Where can we point people to for advice on what are allowable campaign contributions? We've got some super busybodies in this town, and they would like to nitpick whether or not people have made an expenditure. Is donuts okay? Is a blouse okay? Where do we point them for that so that we don't spend our time digging through busybodies?
Yeah, I dealt with this last year.
Yeah.
And I ended up reaching out to the Indiana Election Division to point me in the right direction, and I have that code tabbed
Okay.
in my office, so I will get that to you.
But yeah, so we could make just like a broad statement about here is what's just, you interpret
But
this.
that's the thing, because that's the deal with election law. It's
Interpretive.
incredibly, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interpretive. So they'll say like this is the rule except when this happens, but then if this happens you can do this, and that's how pretty much everything is.
Yes.
Everything.
Another good thing is if you go to the Secretary of State website, they have a campaign finance manual. So they have a candidate information spot where you can look at the campaign finance manual. It's a lot of pages. So you can kind of, if you're familiar with computers, you can do a search for keywords on the page. And you can kind of figure out certain questions, because there are a lot of questions when it comes to campaign finance. The manual's huge. They didn't give us any copies when we went to conference this year. It's
Right.
just all online. So everything you could want is on the campaign, on the Secretary of State website. But if you cannot find it, because sometimes it's hard to navigate, you can reach out to us and we can try to point you in the right direction or email you the document, something like that, to try to help guide you a little bit.
Are we helping, or are we just really confusing you guys more? Okay.
If anyone has questions or is disbanding and they want to know where they can lawfully put the money based on the code, let us know. We'll send you the actual code section.
Mhm.
If you have specific questions about how you can spend the money, we can also send you that code section as well. We can send it just in an email to you so you can read it and you don't have to go search it or find it. We all have them tabbed. Just let us know. We can get that out to whoever needs it. Dakota, I think you had your hand up and the mic in your hand.
Yeah, so if a candidate finds a error in their report, they would be amending it. How far in the past can they go back and amend? Is it just a 6-month period, or how far back can they go?
Bless you.
So we started auditing them, which prior to all of us, wasn't always done. So we try to catch any error. But if there's something that you notice is an error, I would say within that calendar.
I would think.
Yeah.
So what we have found though is that when we are auditing the reports and we recognize that there is an error possibly from a prior year, there may be multiple reports that end up needing to be amended because they carried over the wrong amount from an annual report that then carried through the year. Sometimes you will have to amend more than what was being audited at the time if you recognize that the error actually carried over. It is supposed to be amended in that period that the audit is performed, but I don't believe there's anything in the code that limits you from amending further back if it has to do with your current filing and your current reporting.
And I don't want you people to like feel like they can't be honest because they're worried they're gonna get penalized or in trouble for it. Because if she or when she like she did a lot of the auditing last time, so if she sees something and then they have to go back, you may catch that yourself, correcting whatever you did and then moving forward. That could help you with your new report without having to be sent a notice to correct whatever error or math error or typo may have been done. So I mean if you see something, you can still amend it. There's not like really a rule, I don't think, for it.
No, I'm not gonna say, oh, we didn't catch this, but Dakota caught his own error, like,
Right, let's
correct it.
Yeah.
We're here to help you.
Yes.
Another
Gotcha.
question.
Gotcha.
So we did have an in-kind donation of palm cards. I entered it. Do we need to put an amount? Do they want us to like get an estimate from the company that donated what the cost was for them?
Yeah, you need the amount.
The amount.
There's also, it's called a CFA, is it the 11, Katie?
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I believe
Donation.
That is if you have a contribution of more than $1,000. Those rules are a little bit different. It's a separate form,
Okay.
and I can't
I
remember.
believe it
I
is
think
the
it's
11.
Yeah,
CFA
I can't remember
CFA
how many days you have to turn it in.
The 10 days before the primary.
Oh, microphone.
Isn't that?
I'm gonna pass this over to.
We have.
So for the large donation, isn't the trigger close to the election and close to the primary?
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're capturing it on just the CFA.
Yes.
Schedule A.
Yes, it has its own rule.
Right, so it's
We
only
have the
it's
actual
within days of primary and days of
Here.
election.
of election,
Yes.
primary in general. And it, let's see.
So this is for any donation over 5,000.
Over 1,000.
Only,
Yes.
it's depending on time.
Here. More
Only
than 25
within
days
of
before
the
convention.
primary and days
48
of
hours.
the election. Otherwise, you're capturing it on Schedule A. I'm almost
After a large donation received, 48 hours.
So there's an instruction page, and at the top, it tells you what the deadlines are. And it says, only candidates committees that receive a large contribution that totals at least $1,000 during this time period are required to file this report not later than 48 hours after the large contribution is received and accepted. And then it states just above that, the form consists of a single sheet to report large contributions that total at least $1,000 received and accepted by a candidates committee. Number one, not more than 25 days before convention, primary, or election. And no later than 48 hours before the primary, election, or convention. So it's triggered by essentially the election or the convention, depending on what your office
So we
candidacy is.
a couple donations like that, so I will also have to turn that in with my.
Right,
Oh,
25-day time.
correct, within the 25-day time period.
Okay.
All of these forms are also in that election administrators portal from Secretary of State Election Division's website. They're all linked. All of the instructions are also linked. I'm not gonna say or assume that it's easy, it's not. The instructions have exceptions to the exceptions, as Taylor mentioned. Please do not wait until the day before and you're very confused. Reach out to us. We want to be a resource and as helpful as possible. We cannot do the form for you, but if you're having trouble with a question, do I put this expense on this page? We can help with that. We don't enjoy sending out notices and having hearings for reasons that could have been dealt with by a question being answered. Any question is a good question. Anything else on the CFA 4 or the 11 or the schedules?
Also, don't wait till like the last day at 11:50 to come turn it in case you have to fix some things or figure some things out. Because again, if you turn the form in at 12:01, you're late. So, and there could be a line of people.
Alan had previously asked a question about penalties. It is important for candidates to recognize that the candidate and the treasurer are certifying the information in the report. You are signing the report knowing that a fraudulent report is a level 6 felony. We at the election board do not have the ability to hold someone criminally to a conviction, anything like that. We are reviewing what's within our purview in the election code. However, if something comes before the board that the board believes is fraudulent, the board refers it out. It is not the election board's decision to determine whether or not a crime was committed beyond a reasonable doubt. That is not our purview, that is not our jurisdiction. But it's important to recognize that you are signing this knowing that you're giving a statement. You're certifying to the truthfulness and the accuracy of the statement. If you have to make an amendment or correction, do it. Please be truthful and accurate to the best of your ability. That's what the form is for, okay? But a candidate saying that they signed the form because the treasurer told them to doesn't work well with the board. We still need the treasurer and the candidate to understand what they're signing, okay? Does that help answer the question about the penalties and what the...
dollar amount, what's going to say?
It's deep, right?
It's 50 up to 1,000 for the late penalties, but the fine for defective reporting is 100 up to 500 off the top of my head.
I feel like it's up to 100. I think it's $10 a day, up to $100.
Okay, yeah, and the
Is that
max might be 100. Defective report. I believe you're correct.
But we're gonna do our best to make sure that everybody knows ahead of time when they have one and help them fix it so that nobody on either side has fines the best we can.
I don't want to have 30 meetings
No.
over reports this year. We have elections to run, and but I want to stay focused.
Yes. If we could get through without having hearings on defective reporting, that would be a major success. So please, please call us. We are giving of our time whenever we can, and we really don't want it up there. We'd rather the reports just be accurate from the get-go. Yeah. Any other questions? Any comments about how election season is going or how the paperwork is going?
Can I make a comment, Katie?
Yes, please.
I don't know what the other side does, but I'm trying to tell my people, don't take cash. Get a check at the very minimum, and when you do that, you have to collect the information. The left has an automated source that will automatically do your things. If you guys also have the same, do it. Rely on automation to help you with this, and try to avoid taking cash. That's my recommendation. It's just easier to manage.
Yeah, I know I've been to a lot of fundraisers, and sometimes you'll see there'll be a box for donations, that's fine. I was actually at one, and the lady working the table, someone came in and put cash in there, and she said, well, now what do I do? Because I need to know how much was in there. I said, ask him. ask him. And you really, I mean,
I
you
encourage it.
have to ask. I always try to drop a check just because it's easier, but, so, and it's that season, so when you're going out to these, it does help the candidate if you pay by check.
Or use an automated source, like essentially for all the things that we do, you scan the QR code and you pay through this vendor, like, I don't know what you guys have, but you gotta pay by Act Blue if you're coming to the Democratic thing, if I can all help it, I don't know what you guys have, but the less cash, the better, I'm just saying.
Yes. Yeah, because once those cash donations get to 100, you have to report. So if you're not keeping track or you don't know how much someone gave, there's going to potentially be an issue when they give again.
If they give you $50 this week at a fundraiser, and then you have another one in the spring, and they give you another 80, you have to report that. I
Or if
mean,
it's like another committee giving your committee money and it's on their CFA4, but it's not
On yours,
yeah.
CFA4 because we check those things, that would be an issue too. So
willy-nilly raffles, 50-50s, flipping around tickets and dropping cash, just don't do it. It's just not worth it. Find some way other to make, just don't do it. If we go to things and I see cash flying around, I'm like, don't do that, don't do that.
Well, if there's no other questions, we will stick around after this Q&A session, answer any questions that people may have. If anyone needs any additional information, please feel free to email any of us. I believe Taylor and Heather's emails are the most accessible. Taylor usually gives out my email or cell phone number to anyone that needs an immediate call or has an immediate question. We try to respond within a day or two. We know these reports are important to you and you're working on it right now. So it's causing an issue right now. So we need to get back to you as soon as possible. We all work during the day. So if you're calling and we don't immediately respond, just know that we got your message and we will get back to you promptly.
except I work for you during the day, so I'll answer.
Taylor is here at night,
So again, Taylor's fielding all your questions. And just letting us know when she needs more help.
The other thing is to make sure that if you're not already, if you have Facebook, you're following the Facebook page. I'm trying to post a lot of things that you guys can share that will also draw attention to your committee pages, if you have a committee page or your personal page. I try to post updates on there. Also, if you want the candidate filings list sent to you each day, I'll email out who filed. Once in a while, I'll do the whole list, but people are having a hard time seeing it because it's getting a little long. So either shoot me your email today. You can leave me your email. I add it every day, and then at the end of every day, usually around 3:30, Monday through Friday, I send out a list of whoever filed. I'll probably end up posting it on the Facebook page eventually as well, but some people want updates every day to see if someone's running against them or who's running for what. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
So who has reports due on the 21st? Who has to do an annual? All right. You guys are all going to have them in there on time?
I think I have most of them already.
I like it.
Can you give me a heads up if you have any of my people who don't have them in?
So tomorrow,
It's not getting Thursday.
tomorrow
It's
I'm
Tuesday.
going through, there's like 118 people that have reports due since they changed the state law. So I'm going through to see who hasn't turned one in, and I'll be sending out reminders to you guys. I'll also email the party chairs with the list as well.
Awesome.
Check your email
Yes.
a lot during
Check
the
your
election
spam also
season.
if you don't get it. Yeah.
We
Taylor
need more
sends
calls to make
emails
right now, right?
all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you all for coming. We appreciate you being here.
I want to say on behalf of, me and new candidate, I don't know where this come from or who started this, but I want to say thank you to all of you. This was like, I'm not much for going through this.
Right.
But I need
Right.
So thank you very much to all of you. I don't know where this comes from, but it's a good idea.
You know what? It comes from a desire to act in this county in a more bipartisan manner. And cheers to that.
Yeah, great. And on that note, thank you everyone. Meeting's over.